In the Derby City, Louisville set to take their first victory lap. Last week, they won the Players' Shield, regular season title holders for the first time. And today, their chief rival set to entertain a near-capacity crowd, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, away to Louisville City. Joined by Gary Bailey, the Man United legend, Mike Watts on hand. Here's the Eastern Conference standings. Miami, the only team eliminated of the dozen. Two more have already clinched, Charleston and Detroit. But Louisville clinched 4 weeks ago and knows as long as they remain in the playoffs, the entire league will be coming to Lynn Family Stadium to try and unseat them. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay, 2 games in hand and only 2 points off Indy 11, 4 behind Detroit, trying to make their way up the ladder. Now, Gary, when you play Indy, Louisville always has a little extra on the line, some drama, some intrigue. They needed a win or a draw on the road to secure the Shield, and they did it.
They were absolutely brilliant, that opening goal from Amadou Diarra at the far post. Augie Williams made it difficult for them, really good turn, and then he gets a second. This ball whips across the face of the box. He slides in there, 2-1 down Lou City, but as they have done every game this season, they fight right to the end. Dylan Merritt's back, and the man who was hobbling for that last bit of the game, Jake Morris, he sticks it in the back of the net. They get the draw, and they get that place at the top that they wanted.
Let's take a look at our Commonwealth Credit Union player profile. It's Wilson Harris on 17 goals, second to Nick Marcanic.
Yeah, well, you were saying earlier the fact that Nick Marcanic is doing so well, this gets overshadowed. But what a good player he is, what good finishes. He's a clever player. He puts power where he needs it. He goes round keepers cleverly, keeps the ball close to himself. He really is a fine striker in a very, very good team.
Conversely, for Tampa Bay, it is impossible to discuss their situation without mentioning Milton and Helene. But the reality on the field is that a win paired with either of these 4 scenarios going in their direction outside of this game, they can clinch a spot in the postseason. They can move a little bit closer to a top 4 position. And Gary, they've got the 3rd leading scorer in the league, Manuel Arteaga, in from Phoenix over the offseason.
What a wonderful player he is alongside Cal Jennings, the two of them brilliant there against Rhode Island. Cuts inside in his right foot so well just to open up the gap. He's good with his feet, he's good with his head. And alongside Cal Jennings, the two of them are just wonderful players. Understanding they've got, there's a little 1-2. Leo Fernandez cuts back, and then with a sort of dragging of his right foot, manages to find the back of the net.
Jennings was unavailable last week. Will go from the start alongside Arteaga here tonight. This is one of the famed rivalries in the USL Championship. And what a treat it is to see in mid-October. Louisville, Tampa Bay comes your way next.
Out there and get away. Get to a game. Get out for a night out in a new Toyota.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like this all-wheel drive RAV4 Hybrid.
When it comes to SUVs, more people count on RAV4, year after year after year.
Now get 4.99 APR financing on a new RAV4 or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $339 a month, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. Let's go places.
You ready to lose?
Oh, you wish. Let's go.
It's time to power up your old checking account. That's why Commonwealth Credit Union created Power Checking. This incredible all-in-one account powers your spending and with built-in high-yield savings, grows your balance at the same time. No minimums, no limits, just unparalleled benefits. Best 2 out of 3.
Let's go.
Get to the next level with Power Checking, only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
It's taken me 15 years to get back to the morning show, but I could not be more excited. No matter what your crazy morning routine looks like, please always know that we are there for you. We just want you to start your day on the right note every day from 5 to 10 on WDRB.
Now it's time for Deep Verdicts by Judge Judy. I love the truth. If you don't tell me the truth, you're going to be eating your shoes. I don't care about how you feel. Your feelings are irrelevant to me. If you want to talk about your feelings, go on Dr. Phil. 3 o'clock Judy, weekdays on WDRB.
That's the prize. Louisville City had been chasing it all season long. And now Lou City can say, for the first time, regular season champion, Players' Shield winner in 2024. They have a chance to tie their club record in points today with a victory. Here's the lineup they've assembled.
Yeah, 2 changes from the team that drew at Indy. Adrian Perez is in, Sandrilo drops to the bench. Wilson Harris is back with his 17 goals, and he replaces Philip Goodrum, who also drops to the bench in that 3-4-3 shape.
Conversely, for Robbie Nielsen and Tampa Bay, the big change is that right forward, Cal Jennings.
Yeah, he is back. Leo Fernandez drops to the bench. A changing goalkeeper, Jordan Farr, with a big mistake in that last match for the first goal of the game against Rhode Island. So Phil Brino comes in, and the number 1 keeper drops to the bench.
Well, the extenuating circumstances around this game certainly take precedent. Tampa Bay suffering through Hurricane Milton, and yet still they've made their way north to Louisville to take part in one of the great rivalries of the championship. It's renewed again. Louisville City welcoming Tampa Bay Rowdies on a day in which Louisville celebrates its Players' Shield title, which they accumulated by virtue of a draw last week away to Indy. The trophy in the building for the first time. The championship president, Jeremy Allenbaugh, to bestow it upon the team after the game tonight. Here's Tosh. Gary, we spoke with Danny Cruz about the nature of presenting the regular season trophy. We've spoken to him for many weeks as it became more and more clear that it was going to eventually happen. They are not satisfied winning the regular season. They still believe that the greater achievement is to go finish the job in November in the championship final. But trophies are not a common happenstance in any player's career.
Yep, so they're going to celebrate it at the end of this match, as they quite rightly should. Danny Cruz said to us, look, you never know as a player whether you'll get another chance. So there'll be the photographs, but I'm pretty sure Danny will be keeping his watch close to him, and eventually he'll say, right, that's enough. You've had your pictures, you've had your celebration. Now let's focus on the next step. Because you're right, any good team, when they achieve one target, they move on to the next target straight away. And you mentioned at the beginning they'll be at home should they stay in the championship. So it'll be their aim to be here at Lynn Family Stadium all the way through until the final game.
Here's Adrian Perez. A little give and go, well worked off Serrano. The return to him, bitten off by Hilton. Winder, squares, Davila, Adams. Here's Ordonez, Players' Shield winner now 2 years in a row. Did it with Pittsburgh, but they ended up falling in the 1-8 game to Detroit in the opening round of the playoffs. The deflection from Perez never got to Wilson Harris. And so in that sense, Ordonez proves to be the cautionary tale for everybody.
Yeah. As does Danny Cruz. I think he said, was it way back in 2017?
With Real Monarchs.
Yeah, they won the title and they got knocked out in the very first round. So it's never easy. And often, as happened last year, Phoenix Rising scrape into the finals and end up winning it. So for Danny Cruz, he will not assume anything. Yes, they'll be at home, but he'll be pushing this team all the end, as he does. He has this fantastic ability to push his sides to achieve glory. He doesn't accept anything less, and that's why this team has been breaking records left, right, and center this year.
Tonight's match presented in part by Commonwealth Credit Union. Learn more about how we can help you meet your financial goals. Visit WeSeeYouDifferently.com. Launched over the top. Joshua Perez maintains and fires. It's off the mark.
We're just talking about some of those records that Lou City have been putting together. Obviously, Tampa Bay will be looking and keen to stop them from furthering any records here today. But most single-season home wins, 14, that's a record. Most home goals in a season, 52. That's a record. I mean, it's one after the other. They've won 10 of their last 13 games. Only 2 games they lost. They were down to 10 men in both those games. They've earned 17 points from losing position. That's a third top in the USL. And there's a whole bunch more. We don't have to go on about them. It's just that this season they have been the standout side, Lou City. But from Tampa Bay's point of view, nothing to say they can't go on and be the champions, which, as you say, is the overall prize.
It's certainly a much better trophy than the plate.
It shouldn't be. But then I'm going to bring my European and British point of view that the league is the most important thing and not a 4 or 5 match knockout tournament. But of course, that's different here in the States, and got to respect that. So that's why keeping this team on edge. Now that they've won the Players' Shield, how do you keep them on edge? How do you keep them fired up, getting ready for the playoffs?
Well, if there's one thing we've seen with Louisville City, they hardly ever show a beat of complacency. That is hardly a complacent tackle. Hard won by Jordan Doherty. Well, for the Rowdies, departed Tampa Bay on Monday, went south to avoid Hurricane Milton. Louisville City offered whatever resources they could in Louisville. The Rowdies chose to stay in Florida a few days longer. Ultimately made the trip here a couple days back now.
I think they went into Miami, did they, for their training in the meantime, just to get away from the Tampa Bay region?
In fact, went, yes, to South Florida. Perez. And that's going to be a story to keep an eye on moving forward. Soccer is hardly the most important item in all this, and yet for these players, it's the standard of normalcy. McFadden launches long. Breno's off his line. A diving header speared out toward the halfway line. Lofted by Bodley. Cleared with Jennings. Still pursuing. Gabire eventually ending that rather emphatically.
For me, there is one difference between these two teams tonight, and that is that for Tampa Bay, this is still a very important match. I'm not saying it's not for Lou City, but they've achieved whatever they're going to achieve. Yes, they're going to add some more points to that, and they would love to win, no doubt. But for Tampa Bay, it's more than that. They've got to get into that top 4. They've got to get a home game in the first playoff, especially given how successful they've been in the past. So I think there's just an added edge to the Tampa Bay outfit here tonight.
Muscling challenge by Freddie Kleeman. He's been asked to play a huge role ever since Forrest Lasso's unfortunate early season injury. Ball through to an offside Wilson Harris from Davila. And the reality for Tampa Bay is somewhat grim in the prospect that they have 3 games remaining after this, but they're all going to be, in theory, at home, but where? North Carolina, then Indy, and then it's actually Hurricane Helene that postponed the game against Hartford a few weeks back. So 3 home games remaining for them. The question is, how do they fit them in before the playoffs begin? And especially if you're Hartford, that may end up being a really impactful final game of the season that you may need played to know whether or not you get into the field. As we've seen in the past, the occasional instance of a game becoming unnecessary, simply not being played, that very likely would not be an unnecessary game. Perez, and not it back. To Damian Loss. He's had another nice year.
Yeah, very good goalkeeper. We were just talking off air about him spending quite a bit of time at Fulham, so extremely good grounding, great hands. I mean, you don't get to have the successful year you have as Lou City without having a solid keeper at the back. And doesn't always get a lot of work to do, but when he does, I think he's performed very well. Same can't be said for Jordan Farr at the other end. I mean, 2022 goalkeeper of the year, but a howler last week against Rhode Island. Trying to clear the ball, waited too long. Attacker blocked him, and it was just a giveaway goal. And so he's been dropped. That wasn't the only mistake he's made. There's a couple of others that he hasn't been at the same standard that we've seen him at in previous years.
Perez through, Wilson Harris cuts, Harris! Breno got enough off the deflection from Doherty. That's a tremendous ball slipped through to Wilson Harris, and he just stuck with it nearly long enough.
Good play from Lou City. As you say, fantastic ball there from Adrian Perez, and he had 2 defenders and a goalkeeper, Wilson Harris. In the end, Brenner with his left foot just sticks it out there. Perhaps the defender as well, also part of that block, Jordan Doherty. Good defending, Tampa Bay.
Wi-Fi cornerback post, Adams denied. Breno kept it off the line. Still, it's Harris. Perez chips, seeking Ordonez, and Hilton leads the charge the other way.
Well, we were talking about Jordan Farr having made a few mistakes. If Breno keeps making saves like that, he could keep that #1 jersey.
Lofted past the MLS Next Pro Goalkeeper of the Year a season ago, Damian Loss. And out.
There's some poor marking at the back here. But let's credit Carl Adams for getting up and beating the man who is meant to be marking Pacific Nyongabiri. And the goalkeeper makes a really good save, Breno, down to his right. Carl Adams must have thought that was going into the back of the net.
Well, I was going to say, McFadden has a good arm, but I don't know about that. Continuing to push everybody away. See? Check out all the exciting postseason action. The USL playoffs presented by Terminix kick off in November. The top teams will battle it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLChampionship.com for all the latest playoff information. Louisville locked into the 1 seed. Charleston on the cusp of taking the #2. And then there's a lot to be figured out in the rest of the East. 11 of the 12 still alive. It's only Miami who's been eliminated.
Yeah, it's super exciting. It's the best ever, in my opinion, because it's so close. None of these feeder teams have had in the past. Every team, Loudoun United themselves, got a great chance of making these playoffs. But for Tampa Bay, besides trying to get to that sort of home playoff position, they've lost 6 of the last 8. That is so unlike the Rowdies. But you get the sense that getting a victory here, just something to give them confidence and self-belief again, is vitally important. It's not just about points here today. It's about a belief that seems to have ebbed away in the last 8 matches with those 6 losses.
Entered the day 3 points off Detroit, but only 4 up from Birmingham in 7th.
Yeah, would never have thought that, especially early on in the season. They were destroying teams with Arteaga and Cal Jennings up front, who were sitting, what is it, 3rd and 4th in the Golden Boot. So, and they haven't been scoring that much recently, and that's how well they started off the season. But something's just been lost in these last 8 games.
Stuck on 29 combined goals, 16 for Arteaga, 13 for Jennings.
Absolutely fantastic. I was just looking at the goals. It's the 3rd most goals in the USL, so they're scoring plenty, Tampa Bay. 2nd most shots, but the conversion rate from shots to goals is 16th in the league. So they're getting in good positions, but they're just not finishing, and that's obviously why they've lost 6 of the last 8.
Perez. Got Serrano winding around. Breno scoops. Actually beat the Rowdies in the last game of the 2020 regular season with Charleston. Went to Forward Madison a couple years later, but Neil Collins remembered that performance and ultimately brought Breno in as a backup last year. Robbie Nielsen keeping him on in 2024. Today, switch of the shirt with Jordan Farr to the bench.
Good AP. Coach ready.
Bodily.
Good Dobby. Good Willie.
It's like I'm just trying to imagine where it would be in there.
Kleeman. Nyongabire returns. Doherty Sends a winding service out in front of Arteaga. Bodley kept it in on the backside. Bodley had Arteaga in mind. Still it's there for Hilton. Guillen. There's a ton of English on that. Neon Gabire was waiting, and so Dia gets chopped down as this gets over the line.
And that ball into the box is way too deep by Aaron Guillen. You're not giving your attackers much chance if that ball is so far past the far post. Have a look at this here. Just puts it with height, and they're chasing it. There's nothing on the end there, and then you've got to try and recycle the ball, which is what Neon Gabire is trying to do, but the quality of the ball into the box just not good enough.
I have a feeling those two will be locked up together much of the night. And where they're positioned as the night goes on is probably going to tell you as much about how this game is playing out than anything. They both find their way forward quite often. Hey fans, when Lou City wins, you win. This season, Lou City partnered with Wendy's to give you a free small Frosty if the boys in purple win. No purchase necessary. The offer valid the following day after a win. Head to any participating Louisville area Wendy's location to redeem. Chocolate or vanilla, Gary?
Chocolate.
He's a classic guy. I think the vanilla Frosty is an underrated sockwit. Bodley. Perez held off by Tosh, and I think you can hear Danny Cruz rather clearly celebrating a job well done. I think Danny Cruz, in speaking to us, made it clear he wanted to go about this the same way with the team as they had last week, and he's been pacing, shouting, maybe even more so than usual.
Yeah, I think one of the concerns for a coach when you wrap up the league title so early is that you sort of lose a bit of momentum going into the playoffs, and the only way to stop that happening when the players know full well that the points aren't going to make any difference or much difference is you've got to be at them all the time. You've got to be pushing them. You've got to be reminding them that come the playoffs they need to be razor sharp and focused, and so they can't lose what focus they do have now.
Bodley, Ordonez. Back down to McFadden. I mean, you played for arguably the greatest manager of all time. I'm sure you've had some titles sewn up in your career and had to deal with that measure of recognizing in theory the job's done, but it's not.
So Alex Ferguson would never let you off with letting anything go at any stage. He was just driven. Danny Cruz has a bit of that, and I was just saying to you off air that you wonder what his future could be in coaching, because at 34 years of age, he's already doing a fantastic job here. He's driven in the same way that those coaches like Sir Alex Ferguson are driven. They just keep on going to the next challenge, to the next challenge.
Danny Barrera, the longtime captain for Hartford Athletic, has put Hartford above North Carolina in an enormous game at the playoff line. 19th minute, 1-0 Hartford. Now, the result of that game somewhat immaterial. If either team were to drop points, it would be one of the two needed objectives for Tampa Bay with a win to clinch a playoff spot. They need 2 of 4 events to occur. One is sure to happen there.
Yeah, for me, there's 2 things I'm looking for from Tampa Bay Rowdies. One is obviously the points they need to have that home playoff match. The other is getting back to the form they showed earlier in the season. They've had 4 defeats in the last 4 on the road. Again, unlike Tampa Bay in years gone by, and unlike this team from earlier in the season, they just lost their mojo somehow. So I'm looking here today to say, can they get it back against the Lou City side, who again, as good as they are, they're just maybe not as desperate for the points as Tampa Bay are.
You'd have to go back to the Stu Campbell run before Neil Collins took over. They were arguably the worst team in the league on the road several years in a row. You could argue at the time that perhaps certain players in that roster didn't fancy themselves playing away to Toronto FC2 or the like. Perhaps that was a lack of motivation for that group at the time, which is to say they've become one of the better teams since about 2018 in that vein. So indeed, a bit of a rarity. Ball won, but a price paid for that. Toronto remains down. Down goes Harris. Now the whistle blows. Card's going to come. Hilton's going to get booked. And it's from what happened previous. They had played advantage.
Yeah, correct decision. I think it was a bad tackle. But then Blake Bodley was saying that he was pulled, and there was another question going on the other side of the pitch. Let's have a look at this earlier one. Now, there actually wasn't much. It looked a lot worse initially. And I see it again. I just wonder whether that's just worth a telling off or not. But again, difficult to be a referee. You don't get the chance to see it in slow motion like we do. You've got to call it in real time. And there was this discussion here, I think, because Blake Bodley hit the ground. So Robbie Nielsen's not going to be happy with that. Who would want to be the fourth official in any of these games? If it's not one coach, it's the other coach having a coach.
I am confident it's not worth the money, nor the seat. For Hilton, that is only his 4th yellow of the year. Yellow brought to you by Bone Dry Roofing. Hilton booked. And a 5th, 3rd free kick. An area Louisville can do some real damage. Davila. Davila! Breno, it broke the wall, but didn't break the keeper.
Yeah, it didn't have much pace on it by the time it got to Breno. So a comfortable save for the keeper. He's already made a couple of very important saves to keep his team in this. And Davila is such a good striker of the ball. Might have hit someone on the way through and then took a little bit of speed off the ball.
Perez. This portion of tonight's match presented by Toyota and the Kentuckiana Toyota dealers. Live on WBKI in Louisville and on the Golasso Network coast to coast. Louisville City taking on the Tampa Bay Rowdies tonight. Rowdies sit in 5th place at the moment in the Eastern Conference. Louisville guaranteed the #1 seed. They've won the Players' Shield. Bodley skimmed off the head of Arteaga, got by Nyangabire, and then hit toward frame. Adams blocks. Back out to Jennings.
That's a good ball in from Blake Bodley from that left-hand side. He's such a good crosser of the ball.
Jennings. Out of play. That Ben Bender.
Yeah, just not able to get on the end of this Cal Jennings ball. Battling in the middle of the box there, and Tosh going up and challenging. Although I prefer to see Cal Jennings in the box rather than the man putting the ball in, because he's such a good finisher.
And he's got maybe a commentator's favorite name. Ben Bender. Goodness. Oh. Offside. It's not often you're given a gift like that.
And if he takes a free kick, he's talking about bending it around the wall like Beckham. But he's there on loan from Charlotte FC, so a quality player. 61 appearances for Charlotte FC. And they seem to have just taken this thing out the game, Tampa Bay Rowdies. They under a lot of pressure early on, but sort of managed to start to dominate the ball now, the visitors.
all the way down to Breno. Fadden wins it back. Here's Perez. Tapped out. This will be a quick throw. Too quick.
Lou City just seem to be happy to sit back and let Tampa Bay come on to them a little bit, which at home at Lynn Family Stadium is not something you'd see them do that often. They tend to want to get the ball and attack.
Take a look in Scouse's house. All the flags representing the players on the field. Of course, on this night, the flag of the great seal, the great state of Florida displayed in honor of the Rowdies arriving here despite the catastrophic devastation the St. Pete and Tampa area as a result of recent hurricanes. Ball across, header snapped directly at Breno by Harris.
That's a great ball in, and Harris does super well to get on the end of it. Just can't quite get enough pace on the ball when it comes in. Wilson Harris getting on the end of it. Another little half chance.
Off of Perez. Gary, you've lived in Florida for a long time, although in the opposite corner of the state. USL broadcast is primarily based in the state of Florida, and so many of the commentators here week to week. USL headquarters is in the Tampa area. So certainly our hearts go to fans that are watching right now that may be displaced or simply trying to enjoy a couple hours of normalcy tonight.
I've got a lot of friends living out in that Tampa Bay area, former footballers, and it's been tough for them, and it's even hit us here in the past in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and the Keys. And sometimes does some terrible damage. So again, always trying to give positive thoughts to all those affected.
Halftime will tell you more than just thoughts, the actions from Louisville City to try and provide a measure of support to the Tampa area. Ball lobbed ahead and away from Guillen. And apparently caught the arm of Davila.
What a good season he's had, by the way, Davila. Absolutely fantastic. 7 goals, 6 assists. In fact, what he and Elijah Winder seem to do so well is they hover around the edge of the box. So when you're busy marking the players up front, Wilson, Harris, Ray Serrano, or you're trying to stop balls getting whipped in from out wide from Amadou Dia and Aidan McFadden, you tend to leave them free on the edge of the box. When the ball comes out, they rifle it back in. They've had some great strikes from 25 yards out, both Davila and Winder.
Davila, one of the most savvy pickups in the league this past year. I mean, it truthfully a bit off the scrap heap given RGV folded. Ball through here to Bodley. Played that apparently just right, offside. And we'll remind you, you can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Select matches, including the championship final, to be available in Spanish throughout the rest of the campaign. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. CBS Sports will have coverage of the League One and championship final for the first time, including the championship final on CBS.
I can't win on those things.
Just got over Hilton. This is scintillating stuff. McFadden crossing, was seeking Harris. And a push from Harris. He's penalized.
Well, there was Harris, there's Serrano, there was Amadou Dia, all at the far post, and McFadden did really well, came back on that left foot, put it into the danger area. They've got to keep themselves inside though, strikers, but they were certainly there in numbers, threatening that far post of Tampa Bay's.
Winder dictating the pressure. Guillen through Breno. Bodley. Kleeman. And have they broken the Louisville pressure? Doherty returns. Half an hour gone. Nothing to gain nor lose for Louisville. Then momentum and maybe some bragging rights. Arteaga. Wouldn't be able to tell that the way Louisville's laid their body out in this game. And Kyle Adams, who's dealt with some injuries over the course of this season, helped up off the ground, and there's a noticeable limp to Ordonez as well. That's the other side of this. Win, lose, or draw, health is going to become paramount for Louisville the rest of the way.
Absolutely will be there. As he was clearing that, Kyle Adams just sort of followed through and caught Arteaga's leg, or Arteaga caught him. Either way, it was very painful. But it is, that's the danger in this little period between qualifying as, you know, as winners of the Players' Shield and the playoff starting. Is, as a player, you don't want to get injured. There's nothing much you really have to fight for. Tampa Bay have a lot of fighting to do. Blue City don't really. So yeah, you want to get out there, you want to win, you want to listen to your coach and respond. But the back of your mind, you're also thinking, well, we don't really need to win. I don't need to get injured. I don't have to go flying into tackles. You start to have this self-preservation, and you can lose your edge. And the danger then, of course, is you go into the playoffs without that edge, and you get knocked out first round, which is what Daniel Cruz is trying to avoid, of course. And Arturo Ordonez is trying to avoid, given, as you say, last year's experience with Pittsburgh.
Indeed. Defender of the year, most valuable player in the end, none of it mattered. Plucky Detroit knocking them out. Early service. It outpaced Arteaga. There's Davila. Winder. 21-year-old native of Kentucky. May be the next big transfer out of town. Could be following the likes of Jonathan Gomez and, of course, his brother Josh. Elijah Winder has had a breakthrough season, to say the least. Perez.
See Tampa Bay in quite a low block here when Blue City apply pressure. They just pushed out a little bit now, but they were right in that final third of the pitch. More and more teams doing that. If they don't get possession back within 5 or so seconds of losing it, they drop very deep. Of course, that denies space to the attacking team.
One back by Louisville. Serrano. The reversal. Breaking down a low block. It's the hardest thing in the game, isn't it?
It is very, very difficult. All those bodies, there's no space in between, and you just keep moving the ball from right to left, just looking for a little chink in the armor.
There it is. McFadden curling. Everyone ducked out of the way of that, hoping perhaps it's going to wind all the way toward the post.
Straight above Wilson Harris's head, didn't it? If he had a better understanding of where he was, it's difficult to, because you're watching and expecting a cross. But have a look, go straight over his head there. He ducks underneath it, probably trying not to block the ball. Yeah, he's getting out the way without realizing that it needed a touch. It's a small touch to actually hit target.
And a rare instance of Wilson Harris showing a measure of self-preservation.
Which again goes to my earlier point. When you've already qualified, you don't want to get injured, you don't want to get hurt, and that starts to creep into your play subconsciously. You know, no one does that on purpose.
McFadden got Bodley off kilter, sends the service off of the towering Freddie Kleeman. Back through Adams. Amadou Dia. Jennings. The breakout's on Arteaga. Available off the left, here he is. Oh, what a first touch by Jennings. Trying to muscle his way free, and eventually Tosh, after the tussle with Ordonez, knocked it free.
He's something special, Cal Jennings. He has, as you said, got a great first touch, but he also got a tremendously powerful strike. He's really good at finding the target. Quality player, probably, I would think, one of the best strikers in this league, because he's not just a one-dimensional player. There's so much he can do, and he's such a clever player as well. Great player to bring to the club, both Cal Jennings and Manuel Arteaga. So good move there by Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Ultimately, Jennings shouldn't have surprised anybody. He was the top goal scorer in Division One at UCF in 2018. Went to Memphis, scored 9 goals in the shortened COVID season in 2020. Las Vegas a couple of seasons, 32 goal contributions in 44 games, and then last year, 19 goals, first team all USL. Perez takes a deflection. Arteaga was looking to poach, and Arteaga catching the Louisville player as he went for the ball. And that fearsome duo having some words.
He feels he didn't make much contact and it shouldn't have been a free kick, but unfortunately, referee has to make a quick decision and you have to abide by it. Have a look, Perez doing really well down that left-hand side. Ball comes across.
Nothing at all?
Either nothing or next to nothing.
Okay.
And that's why he's upset. But you know what? It's hard for a referee not to buy that, especially if it happens in the box. The defenders know that. It's the same as when defenders get bumped from behind when they're shielding the ball and they fall over. I'm like, really? But it's hard for a referee not to give it, and that's, of course, why they do go to ground so easily, defenders.
Nyangabire. Dia trying to cover that ground behind. Louisville playing out of a 3-back still with that combination of Adams, captains the side, Ordonez in the middle, and Tosh on the right.
We were just talking also about a few minutes ago about the need for Tampa Bay is much greater than Lou City. The other thing that might be playing on Lou City's mind, and again, you try not to as a player, all the celebrations coming up, and you've got your families had to make special trips. You've probably got your kids or extended family, whoever it is, they're going to come join you on the pitch. You know this is all happening at the end of the game, and now you've got to try and focus on the actual match.
Jennings, Bodley, loss. Return to sender.
Good save from Luss. He gets rid of it. He gets it out of the danger area with a good thump, and that's great goalkeeping.
Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com. The latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Long ball, Bodley, the target, and instead off the head of McFadden. Danny Cruz looks on, youngest to ever lead a team to the USL Championship final. You mentioned still 34 years old, basically off the field and into an assistant coaching role. Monarchs joined John Hackworth here. A year later, he was the guy. Hackworth now the interim head coach at St. Louis City.
Danny Cruz has been there as a player, defender in his time, so tough guy. He's a tough manager as well. There's a final warning possibly for Arteaga, who once again claims his innocence.
Well, if this looks anything like the last one, I'd say unduly persecuted here.
But having been given that final warning, you cannot afford now to miss time a tackle, because the referee will be forced to give the yellow. So you have to tread carefully.
Only one booking in this game, belongs to Hilton, and you could argue that was a bit hard done. Joshua Perez swung over by Hilton. Doherty, Nyongabire. Doherty serves the box again, and a header looping off target. So Perez making himself available.
Doesn't hit target, does he? And you just wonder if that's Manuel Arteaga or Cal Jennings on the end of that Doherty ball, where they would have been on target. It sort of comes off his shoulder, doesn't it? It doesn't come off his head. You fancy Arteaga would have buried that. So a good chance gone a begging there for the Rowdies.
Perez, plenty of experience playing at the senior national team level for his uncle, Hugo, at El Salvador. His dad, an extensive playing career, played in the U.S., California Emperors, also for Club Deportivo Fas in El Salvador. Back for Perez, but eaten up by McFadden. I want to know who started this hair bleaching endeavor. It's Perez or it's Arteaga. I think Arteaga's been doing this for a while. I'm not sure what the order of operation is here, if there's any relation.
Does it help you play better soccer?
I mean, Messi tried it and it worked for him.
Messi's Messi.
Joe Burrow's doing it up a little bit up the road in Cincinnati right now, and while the Bengals are struggling to a 1-4 record, he might be the league MVP. So I'm coming in with bleached hair next week. Dia. Harris. Harris went for goal. That's blocked. Still it's Dia. Tried to pull that by Nyongabire. That didn't fly. I'll do it if you do it, Kerry. Here's Arteaga, the leader of the Bleach Boys.
The bottom line is, if you're a coach and a player says he wants to do it, he makes him feel happier and more content and potentially a better player, then absolutely go ahead and do it.
Davila. Serrano. I'll deflect out. Came off of Doherty. 5-5 corner to come.
Told to watch his mouth a little bit there in front of the referee. I just watching McFadden at the far post there. He was free running in. He had his hands up and he was hoping that Ray Serrano would find him, but Serrano was totally focused on trying to beat his man and get the cross in.
Ray Serrano's had an exquisite year as well. 7 goals, 5 assists. Didn't score at all last year. His best season as a pro. Serrano bouncing ball.
Big shots of up to try and get that Tampa Bay defense up and out of the box. Just that corner you were talking about, Racer, on having done so well. The corner itself wasn't very good, was it? Instead of getting in there and giving those big boys a chance of Loose City, it was easily cleared at the near post.
Perez trying to dice up Bodley. Approaching halftime.
It's been a very even half in that sense, hasn't it? There's been a few chances at both ends. Maybe early on, Blue City looked the better side. Brenner had to make a couple of really important saves, but slowly the Rowdies worked their way back into it. They had a couple of looks at goals themselves, so I think it's all set up for an exciting second half, but really not much to enthuse about in the first half as yet.
Free kick. If you know anything about the history of these two teams, it's very rarely the high-scoring variety. More often than not, they are these gritty and hard-fought games, and such is the case through 45 minutes. Halftime scoreless, Louisville and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, well, I think the fireworks are still to come in the second half. Tampa Bay is going to have a go, and they've got to push forward a little bit more. And Loose City are Loose City. They're the Players' Shield champions. You can see already there is that little bit of annoyance from Tampa Bay. So I think both teams getting into this match, and we'll see a lot more in the second half.
Well, at least half the starting lineup for the Rowdies has gone over to the officials to voice one last complaint. Halftime in Louisville, Kentucky. It is supposed to be a celebratory day for Louisville City. Tampa Bay trying to spoil that party. It's scoreless at the half.
When the Thompsons first bought their house, all they saw was their dream home. They didn't yet know that with a home equity line of credit from Commonwealth Credit Union, it would be their keys to epic cannonballs and the chance to see the world. As years went by, it allowed them to empower the next generation and make happily ever after come true. Which begs the question, what could your home be doing for you? Let's find out together. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
How do you get your news? Is WDRB the soundtrack to your morning routine? Or you can scroll on the go with the WDRB News app.
If you've already cut the cord, start streaming our news on WDRB+.
Maybe you like to read a more in-depth story and you use WDRB.com.
When weather's the biggest story of your day, the WDRB Weather app has video forecasts and radar.
However you choose to get your news, WDRB is the source.
Welcome to the WDRB Plus studio. I'm Monica Harkins.
And I'm Julie Dolan. We're launching a brand new newscast every weekday at 10 a.m. on WDRB Plus.
You can expect the top 5 at 10 each day with a little bit of context and expertise about why these stories matter to you.
But first, you'll need that WDRB Plus app. You can download it using a Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV. And tell your friends and family all about it.
And you can also catch that on your smartphone. We're incredibly excited to bring this to you guys each day at 10 a.m.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get to the campground.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck.
Like the trail-dominating Toyota Tacoma.
The best-selling truck in its class for the past 19 years.
Or the dominatingly powerful new Tundra.
Now you can lease a new Tacoma from just $319 a month.
Or you can get a new Tundra with 1.99 APR financing or $2,000 customer cash.
Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back. You see the state flag of Florida hanging among the Louisville City supporters tonight. Lou City aiming to help with a Relief for the Rowdies fundraiser running now through Sunday. The club set to match up to $10,000 in total donations to aid Tampa Bay's organization as it rebuilds in the aftermath of Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Fans can visit louiscity.com/relief to donate. Those who contribute $100 or more be automatically entered for a chance to win a team-signed Louisville City jersey. Here's Wes Sharpie of Tarpon Springs near Tampa and Coach Danny Cruz discussing that fundraiser earlier this week.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game, you know. It's always good games between us and Tampa. We have a lot of history, but above soccer, you know, we're all human beings and we all have lives and families, and you know, no one wants to see someone struggle like this. So, you know, the fact that Louisville City is donating to a cause like this is, I think, is what matters more than soccer at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you see it time and time again in this city. You know, I've been fortunate now to call this place home for almost 5 years now. You know, my son was born here. I've seen what this community does to help others, and it's one that I'm extremely proud to be a part of. It certainly feels like home now, and when something like this occurs, you know, from our ownership group to this club to the community, it's about trying to support. And we try to do that in any way that we can. And this is a moment where, you know, we can look to raise as much money as we can to help support the Tampa Bay Rowdies as they're going through a really, really difficult time. And, of course, when you're on the field against them, you know, you want to win every single time. But I think this would be a win for everybody if we can do as much as we can as a community to come together and raise as much money as we can to help them out.
Yeah, I think it's really cool here in Louisville. You don't really get affected by hurricanes, you know. You're really inland here, but I think it shows the warmth and the character of the town of Louisville to help out and people in need right now. Like I said, I think it's a great thing that the club is doing this.
Told this week that Wes's family is indeed okay and that they were able to find refuge away from the water in the Tampa area. All the while, you can in fact still go to Louisville City's website, louiscity.com/relief, to donate, as relief for the Rowdies continues now through Sunday. The 31st year of Rowdies soccer, the 15th in the modern era, their 8th in the USL. This is a club of extreme renown and a community that's hurting. It's, well, a rare, beautiful moment within all this devastation to see the USL and even the greatest of rivals come together in a moment like this.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked Bebidas.
Welcome to Do or Die. Welcome to stories that give meaning to it all. The juggernaut chasing history. The hero hoping for a Hollywood ending. The upstart determined to make the most of its shot at glory. Welcome to second-guessing everything. Every coach's decision, every referee's call, every pass, shot, tackle, save. Because you know it all means more now. Welcome to the playoffs.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Yeah, trick. I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
The wandering son returns. The older brother, who's been away from the family for over 1,000 days, is back. A little bolder, more sophisticated, stronger yet leaner. The all-new Land Cruiser resumes its place alongside the new, more dynamic Tacoma, the powerful Tundra, the legendary 4Runner, and the full-size adventuring Sequoia to reunite Toyota's 5 brothers. The family that plays together stays together. Toyota, let's go places.
We're back in Louisville, Kentucky. Lou City and Tampa Bay meeting in mid-October. In the past, this would feel like a playoff game. Perhaps it could still be a playoff game in about a month's time. With Gary Bailey, Mike Watts, here's a look at news and notes around the USL Championship and beyond. The playoffs presented by Terminix could see 7 teams enter the fray this weekend, including an expansion team that may clinch a spot in the top 8 in the East in Rhode Island. Louisville wins the Players' Shield. Then, how about Las Vegas? This is a group that for 7 years was bad, truly terrible. They may be the best story in the entire league this year.
Absolutely brilliant, considering that they only got their coach in February. They started adding players late February, early March. They got off to an average start. They just got better and better as time has gone on. So well done to everyone involved with Las Vegas Lights. They could go all the way and win this championship. And they're outsiders, but they've got a chance.
Las Vegas has 1 loss in their last 19 games. Wow. Unreal. Take a look at the scores around the league. Earlier today, Detroit and Indy featuring a 0-0 game. The Riverhounds jumping on Charleston 2-0 inside a half an hour. That's in the second half now in Pittsburgh. That's a huge result if they can get it.
Absolutely brilliant result. And Hartford beating North Carolina means that North Carolina, Hartford, Pittsburgh all going to be very close to each other. That's a bun fight to get into the playoffs in the East.
Meanwhile, out west, San Antonio away to Colorado Springs. That's in the 25th minute. And a big game for SAFC, who are beneath the line. Memphis and Sacramento appear safely in the west. However, still a lot of seeding to be decided in the upper half. Take a look at the Eastern Conference standings. Home field all the way. Tip the tail for Louisville City. Meanwhile, Charleston and Detroit are now officially in. Miami's out, and you can sort of see how it stratifies, right? So you've got Indy, Tampa Bay, Rhode Island in a group. Then you've got Pittsburgh, North Carolina, Birmingham, Loudoun, and Hartford in a group.
Yeah, that's 5 teams battling for that 7th and 8th spot if you assume that Rhode Island are safe-ish. Well, as I said, it's going to be a real fight, and it's difficult to know who's going to do it. Loudoun are a good side. Birmingham have been struggling. North Carolina with Alex Anderson are really, really good. And Pittsburgh can never ride out the reigning champions of the East.
Well, they may well just be eking into the playoffs after a tough start. Here's around the league later tonight into tomorrow. Mentioned Rhode Island. They've got Loudoun. That's one of the big ones at the line.
Yep, they have. And I tell you what, Loudoun are a good enough team to make it. Birmingham, they've got to find some form. And they're facing that Las Vegas side that you said, what, 1 loss in the last 19. And another team that's struggling is Oakland Roots. They've got 5 matches, 4 losses and a draw. So I think they could be very careful. They'll make the playoffs, but they won't get there in good form. Phoenix Rising just need this, and they should pretty much wrap up their place in the playoffs if they could win at Oakland.
That's later tonight on ESPN+. Louisville City, a handful of chances in this first half, perhaps none better than that from the second leading scorer in the league. Frustration abound. 0-0 at the half.
Okay, ideas. Where are we going?
I got one.
I got one.
What about a comedy show?
I've seen you, I've swiped on you. No. Okay?
Tacos. Definitely tacos.
The all-new Camry is 100% hybrid. Lease one now for $299 per month or get 4.99 APR financing. Find your vibe in the all-new, all-hybrid Camry. Toyota, let's go places.
So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get out for a night out in a new Toyota.
Toyota has more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else. Like this all-wheel drive RAV4 hybrid.
When it comes to SUVs, more people count on RAV4 year after year after year.
Now get 4.99 APR financing on a new RAV4 or lease a gas-powered RAV4 LE for $339 a month. Plus 2 years no-cost maintenance.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota. Let's go places.
Here come first half highlights between Louisville City and the Tampa Bay Rowdies. How about Perez swinging this in, ultimately taking control through to Harris?
Yeah, Wilson Harris then, once he's got the ball there, he's got 2 defenders and a goalkeeper. They just block him. A lovely ball from Adrian Perez. Cuts in there, and I think goalkeeper's left foot, perhaps defender's foot, stops Wilson Harris from scoring. Then more pressure from the home side. Carl Adams, not marked, gets a head in. Very good save from Brenner.
Breno in for the first time for Jordan Farr. Only his second start of the season, first since the first week of August. Meanwhile, Louisville pressure unceasing.
Ray Serrano puts the ball in here, and it's a falling, diving header, however you want to describe it, from Wilson Harris. But because he's sort of going backwards, he can't get much power on that ball, and it's easily saved by Breno. And the ball gets whipped wide. McFadden here, he's going to cut inside in his left foot, have a shot. And Wilson Harris ducks here, thinking that it's on target. If he could have just deflected that, who knows, it could have ended up in the back of the net.
And now they're ready for the second half. So Perez and Arteaga and Jennings trying to find that go-ahead for Tampa Bay. They'd be very valuable points for Louisville City, trying to tie the club record, 72 points on the year. And this a bit of encroachment right off the bat on a back pass to start the second half. Bring the clock back to 45. Let's go. Upward and onward. Oh, what a weird one that is. All right, let's play. It's the USL Championship on the Golasso Network. On WBKI in Louisville.
Well, no goal first half, or goals at all for either side, but you've got to fancy something's going to happen second half. Louis City have gone 13 straight games scoring. They've scored in 29 of their 31 games, which is another record, best in the USL.
Wow.
And they have the second highest in USL history with 79 goals in total. Just 10 behind Phoenix's total of 89 back in the year of 2019.
So they may not be invincible, but they are inevitable.
Something like that.
Walloped into the penalty area. There's Adams. Hilton. That askew, a goal kick. And you think about what Phoenix did that year. That was the season in which they amassed a 20-game winning streak, a North American pro soccer record.
Incredible team they had then. It's one of the best years of Solo Asante.
Yep.
Absolutely imperious.
Junior Flemings, Adam John. But, you know, the undercurrent of that in terms of that individual record, right? That was still a point in time where the USL had a number of reserve teams. And so a number of those sort of big blowout wins weren't against teams whose primary mode of operation was to win the game. And so at times those would get a bit gaudy. The fact Louisville's done this against an entirely independent team league now is equally impressive, whether they get the record or not. I don't know that anyone will ever touch what Phoenix Rising, what Rising did that year.
Now you make a very valid point. The league is much, much harder than it was both East and West. Quality just improves all the time. And so it gets more and more difficult to set these fantastic records.
Breno. Winder able to bring it down. And Kleeman reverses this portion of tonight's match, presented by Toyota and the Kentuckiana Toyota dealers.
You were just chatting before halftime saying how tight these games are between these two teams. They have met 15 times, 4 of those in the playoffs, and only one of those 15 games was decided by more than 1 goal.
Wow.
So your point's spot on. You get the sense that this is going to be close one way or another.
I think I've called about 12 of them, so I was just taking a stab based off past experience, so more than stat. But glad to know I wasn't far off the mark. I mean, multiple Eastern Conference finals, and this is really what it's all about when these two teams come together. Last year, Louisville finished 5th, the Rowdies 2nd. This year, the Rowdies enter this game in 5th, Louisville in 1st. Really, since the inception of Louisville City, despite the fact this was their first regular season championship, every single conference final over 10 years. Simply unbelievable. The Rowdies, after that first year where they tried to figure out sort of their place within the league, and Joe Cole and Marcel Schaefer and Georgi Hristov certainly did translate. Neil Collins came in, totally rebooted the team mid-season, moved out something like 15 guys after he took over mid-season in that summer window, and rebooted the Rowdies into their current high-caliber form. Ball lofted across. Doherty got a glancing blow. That's going to be a throw. Nyongabire went around to try and grab it too.
It's a good ball in from McFadden. It's got pace, hasn't got too much of a loop on it. Doherty does really well. He's got two players right behind him there. Adrian Perez being one of them there, and Amadou Dia the other, both waiting for a moment to try and head that ball onto target. And he gets it away from danger.
McFadden's service tonight has been quite solid in the run of play. Dia. Tosh. Perez. Jennings. Nyongabire. Dia tried to take it away. Winder kept it in. The return from Tosh. Winder kept his footing. Serrano flanks off of Kleeman.
These set pieces are important. Sometimes if you can't break a team down the traditional way with crosses and shots, then set pieces can become absolutely vital. Maybe get a little flick on at the near post. Maybe get one of the big boys, big center backs to come crashing in with a header.
5-5 corner. Serrano top of the 18. Davila. Serrano, Breno crashing, collecting, and contemplated distributing.
He's had a very good game today, Breno. If you're Robbie Nielsen, you've got to be thinking, no reason for me to take him out and bring Jordan Farr back. Given the couple of mistakes that Farr has made recently, you've got to go with the goalkeeper who's on form. And so far in this match anyway, Breno doing everything that's been asked of him.
Breno started the 2022 Eastern Conference Final against Louisville. City got through in that game, 1-0. Ball whipped across, header into the stands. By the way, take a look among the Purple family. They've erected a banner here. Lance McGarvey, the public address announcer, that amazing booming voice that everybody wishes they had, has announced he'll be stepping away from the role at the end of the year. The old Lou City goal. I can't do it. You get the point.
Yeah, I thought you did a fairly good impression, but
forever
yeah.
Our voice. Well done.
Yeah, we wish him well.
Simply time to take his weekends back, I think. He'll enjoy coming to games as a fan and being able to imbibe, I think, moving forward. It's also the voice of the University of Louisville basketball team, the KFC Yum Center. As good as it gets. Here's the cross off of Adams. No, that was not me auditioning for the role. Pass. Those shoes are too big. I'm not trying to fill those.
You've got enough big gigs that you're doing. You don't need more work, do you?
No, but here I am. Nyongabire, tough slide by Amadou Dia.
So perfectly balanced this match. Both sides doing what they have to do, but no one seemingly able at this stage to find that key moment to get a breakthrough.
Well, spin from Nyongabire, knocks it off the shin guard of Amadou Dia.
Certainly in terms of keeping a clean sheet, Tampa Bay Rowdies looking a lot better. They had come into this match having conceded 18 in the last 8 games. So they'll be desperate for a clean sheet. And as I say, psychologically, a win here or even a draw or a clean sheet all would lift their confidence because they know how difficult a place Lynn Family Stadium is.
Louisville, the home wins record this year, nearly impossible to take a point off of them. 14 home wins. That is nuts.
14 out of 15. Wow.
Insane.
One glaring difference was Rhode Island's 5-2 win here. How that happened, I have no idea.
Yeah, I called that game. I think everyone can look back and go, that was a weird one, but it was also sort of that start of the stretch for Rhode Island where you went, oh, wait a minute, now they figured it out. They had been drawing left, right, and center for the first 10, 12 games of the year. There's a reason they're going to finish right around 5, 6 at worst, and they were the second to last team to get a win. Nyongabire off that of Arteaga, cleared by Serrano, but not entirely.
I seem to recall their first win was away at Las Vegas before Las Vegas really got going.
Right. And look at the switchbacks too out west.
Oh, lost their first 5 or something.
And yet
crazy.
They're probably going to finish in the top 4. Picked up, pile driven. Nyongabire the foul.
I'm going to say that's not a yellow card. I mean, that's not tripping someone up. That's dragging them down to the ground. The referee decides to give a warning instead. And he's saying it's twice now, but so on its own it seemed almost worthy. Let's have a look again. Ball comes across. Nyongabire is holding, or there's got to hold him on the side. To be fair, I think Adrian Perez had a hold of Nyongabire's shorts as well, so maybe there was 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Damian Loss for Ordonez. Harris, wonderful control, and finally Kleeman ended it.
Ray Serrano was just arriving on time for a little ball to be slipped into him. Had Wilson Harris been able to have kept control of that ball.
Sliding diagonal, Adams just narrowly wise enough to it. And Dia kept it. Show of strength from the outside back, now show of speed. Divvied out, Serrano. Back toward Dia. Dia took it on a line. Oh, that would have been absurd. Comes to McFadden. How about the wing backs leading the charge?
This is end-to-end stuff, isn't it? It was Lou City attacking, went straight down the other end. Tampa Bay had a chance, and it was well cleared by Kyle Adams, and straight back the other way. Really good football, really coming to life. And McFadden just unable to get over that ball and keep it down, but great play, as you say, from Serrano on the one side, McFadden on the other.
All the way down to Ordonez. Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus live matches, USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. SiriusXM FC 157, the new SiriusXM app. Davila. Davila up by Ben Bender. Hilton.
It's been a good little spell for the home side. Here again, they've got turnover ball a few times, putting the Rowdies under some pressure. And that's at a time when the Rowdies are the ones who need the points more desperately than Lou City do.
Sprayed ahead, Harris and line. Harris, oh, nearly for Serrano. He made this really clever in and out run. Just narrowly cut out in time.
Yeah, he did a great run, wasn't it? Went towards the keeper, then came back, then went back to the keeper. Have a look at it again. Have a look on your left-hand side if we can see it. Serrano already made the one run. And he pulling the centre back all over the place. Wilson Harris head up, knew exactly where he was going, just couldn't reach him with his pass.
Louisville getting closer. Trying to get win number 23 tonight. Points 70, 71, and 72. Had a 72-point season in 2022. Louisville to the bench. Philip Goodrum in off the bench. That's it for Harris. And then Perez comes off. Replaced by Jansen Wilson. Now, you and I spoke with Danny Cruz a little bit about what this is going to look like going forward. The last week of the year, he is intent. They finish with Phoenix at home on the 26th. They need to get that rhythm going into the playoffs. No one's going to be sitting. If you're healthy to play, you're going to go. Subs brought to you by Fortna. But maybe this week, perhaps into the San Antonio game, how do you best utilize legs that have given you well over 2,000 minutes this year? Davila, 2,650 minutes if he goes the distance tonight. You look at Elijah Winder, he only played 1,500 minutes a year ago. He's nearly at 2,700. Ball lofted. Adams caught a piece, Ben Bender. Attacks again. Hilton! Oh, a remarkable goal for the Rowdies! Oh, that is a delicious goal for Tampa Bay.
A delight there on the bench for Tampa Bay Rowdies. The crowd a little bit stunned. They've come here for a party today. They've come here to see the trophy handed out, but Tampa Bay have other ideas. It is a good strike. Ball knocked in here. Kyle Adams does well to flick it away. Then a little bit slow to get out and close down Ben Bender. He's got a little bit of space on the edge of the box. And Lewis Hilton's run isn't picked up. And once he's inside, he's able just to settle on the ball and absolutely thump that into the top corner. And we're just talking about Davila and others on the edge of the box. Ray Serrano, they had to have picked up that run from Lewis Hilton. They didn't. And they've now paid the price.
Lewis Hilton bags his first league goal since April of 2022. That is his 19th goal in the league, and it's been nearly 60 appearances since he last tallied. And what a way to break that drought. Tampa Bay 1, Louisville 0.
Just come after a spell where Lou City looked really dangerous. Now the question for me is, can they hold on to this lead, the Rowdies? Again, I'll come back to that same point. They're more desperate for the points. They're more prepared perhaps to throw their bodies on the line to make sure they get that home playoff. Credit Brenner. Go back to the early part of this match. He made 2 crucial saves to keep his team in the match. The Kyle Adams header from the corner at the near post, and he just tipped around, and there was another save that was a good one. Blocked from Wilson Harris. Sometimes when your keeper keeps you in the game, it gives you the chance to go and sneak one down the other end eventually, and that's exactly where the Rowdies are at the moment.
Lewis Hilton now Pacific Nyangabire. Gets out of play. Ahead of the curve, relief around the corner. Serving Louisville, Central Kentucky, and Southern Indiana. Advanced ENT and allergy. Hopefully we're getting out of the less, we're getting into the less pollinated time of year. Goodrum, a heavy touch, just got mauled by Kleeman.
It's a shot of really? Oh, the life of a referee. You never win. I was looking at the bench here for the Rowdies. They've got a couple of players who can come on and do a job. Nick Moon has had some injury problems, but what a good player he is. Leo Fernandez, of course, 32 years of age now, but great touch on him. Crisostomo in midfield, and Joma. They can all come in here and try and lock this game down and get these 3 points for the Rowdies.
All those potential subs are warming up down at the opposite end line now. The lights are on tonight. And the spotlight on this game. There's the potential inclusions in the foreground. Leo Fernandez. Rowdies already have a lead, and they're looking for more. Jennings usurped by Davila. Through now for Goodrum, who dragged his run. Guillen. Excellent from Guillen.
How quick was Guillen to get back there, because Goodrum had gone past him and he caught him up in the space of 4 or 5 yards.
I mean, I say this with full due respect to both players. I didn't know Guillen had that burst in him to make up that kind of ground. It looked like he was beat.
Great recovery. Have a look at it again there. Just bombs straight past Goodrum. Forces Goodrum to make a lunging tackle. Whether there's incidental contact, I don't think it's worthy of a yellow card. Anything much as Lewis Hilton and Guillen complain. Well, that's what Goodrum gives you. One thing we knew from the very moment he joined Lou City, and Danny Cruz said, it's the sort of player gets in your face, upsets you, winds you up if you're a defender, and that's the sort of player you'd rather have on your side than against you.
Turned over, got by Serrano, but he catches up. Kleeman eyes him. Serrano off of Doherty, who's played a bit of center back this year in a pinch. Yeah, Goodrum's got a bit of a reputation.
Yeah, he has. And everybody knows it, and you don't want to be the one playing against him. Because he knows how to irritate defenders, no question about that.
I assume you have too much class to have ever seen the movie Major League, but it's sort of the old Bob Uecker, man, a different fabric on this guy. You really come to like him a lot more when he's on your team, wearing your jersey. Amazing how a different color fabric really changes your opinion of a guy.
Yeah.
Here come the subs. Joshua Perez is done for the night. His 20th start. It is Daniel Crisostomo on for him. Sub brought to you by Fortna. And then Bender replaced by Leo Fernandez. Fernandez, an Achilles injury preseason last year after the 2022 MVP campaign that saw him manage 20 goals and 9 assists. Was able to come back at the end of the year, play 90 minutes over 3 games. And this year has been dipping in and out of the lineup. It's his 17th appearance. Drops in. Serrano seeking. Dia was there. Nyongabire forced him away from the ball. And there's the late point. Pointing to the spot, Louisville has a chance to pull level. The Rowdies are incensed.
We're trying to make a point, but at some level you've got to leave the referee alone. He gives the yellow card out there to Nyongabire. Robbie Nielsen not happy either.
And a yellow for descent to Arteaga as well. All right, well, we know how he feels about this. What do you think?
Let's have a look. It's hard to see initially exactly what was going on.
Did he get his left foot?
Or was it a shove even? He doesn't get the ball. That I think is pretty clear. Nyongabire, he goes for it and doesn't get it. Question mark, is it a left foot or is it a push? Again, as a referee, if you think that's a penalty, you give it. You can't, well, red card for, that's got to be, I assume, for Robbie Nielsen, is it?
You would think so. We'll see someone make their way up the tunnel at midfield.
I think it's a disrespectful approach to the officials. I know you're upset and you want to say your piece, but mouthing off with the fourth official and all that is, and then having all the coaches try and do the same.
Yellow to one of the assistants.
There's a certain code of conduct, and I know you're upset and you're angry and everything else, but pointing at officials and blaming them, I don't think that's good for the game.
And Nielsen's about to go download the CBS Sports app to watch on Golazo.
He's being told he has to leave the pitch.
I think he's saying, hey, I'm trying to grab something here before I leave. Yeah, he grabbed his notebook. And now he's headed up the stairs.
So the problem for a referee, and why I sympathize with referees, it's a hard one to call either way. You know, if the forward goes down in a heap and the defender, Leon Gabiri, seems to make contact or seems to shove him, and the referee calls it, you're going to get some of them right. You're not going to get every one right. But you can't be under the sort of pressure that the whole world's against you when you make a call. As a referee, you've got to have some respect that it's a difficult job for him to do. So anyway, it's been given. Tosh steps up. He scored a whole bunch of goals this year already, 6 goals. Let's see if he can make it number 7.
Tosh career 14 for 14. Breno career has saved 2 of 8. And Tosh can put Louisville on level terms. Breno's first start in over 2 months. Could have a marquee moment right here. Tosh lines it up. Tosh scores! Still perfect from the spot. Tucked in, locked in, 1-1 with 20 minutes to go.
That's a good finish by Tosh as well. He's put a lot of power behind that ball. Yes, the keeper goes the other way. I think even if Breno had gone the right way, he's not saving that. And it's nice and cool from Sean Tosh under a lot of pressure out there. Well, they're debating and arguing with the officials, but he's just focused on the job he had to do, which was pick out a corner and put it in with power. There's the ball back from Serrano. That's a tackle on Amadou Dia. That's the finish. Nicely tucked in that corner. Well done, Sean Tosh.
Ultimately, the 15 for 15 is penalties in the run of play, which is how Transfer Market delineates. Well, he missed a tough one in the Open Cup back in May. Has Louisville on level terms. That goal presented by the Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education, the Kentucky Lottery. Adams away from the 6-yard box. Arteaga and Jennings looking particularly menacing there. Back down the left side through the smoke, ball across. Arteaga never arrived.
I think it's fair to say this match has come to life, but we're going to be in for a fantastic finish.
Yeah, this is more what I think we're used to. And that's the thing about Rowdies Louisville. You could play this game in March, and it's going to have a little bit of that playoff feel. They've been paired together too many times. That's a yellow card to Goodrum. That's the 3rd time he's been intertwined with a Rowdies player since he's come into this game about 10-15 minutes ago, and he's booked.
Now his game's got to change. You can't get in the face anymore once you're on the yellow, so he's got to back off a little bit, Philip Goodrum. But just credit to Lou City. This now means they've scored in 30 of 32 games this season. I mean, that's absolutely phenomenal stats. And they've earned, coming into this match, they'd earned 17 points from losing positions once again, as they did last week, away from home against Indy 11. They've come back here against Tampa Bay as well. They've got guts, this Lou City team.
Nyongabire, Adams. One of the greatest seasons in league history. Tampa Bay taking them to the wire tonight. 30 games having scored. That's goal number 80 on the year, 9 off the league record, as we discussed prior, for their 15th home win in 16 games. Ball offered through, and Loss got just enough. Hilton spins it back outside. Reserve. Leo Fernandez, no. Kleeman tries to get beneath it. McFadden sends away and lifted out.
Good defending. McFadden really does well at the end there. Jumps high and makes sure he hits that completely clear of danger. But I do get the sense that there's more to come here in terms of cards. It's just sitting on a knife edge, isn't it?
Arteaga. Whoa, Loss got intertwined with his own man. That's Loss losing his mind a bit. Ran right up the back of McFadden.
That didn't need to be there. He hasn't had much to do, Damien Loss, so you can forgive him for trying to get involved, but I don't think that was something he needed to run out to.
Off of Dia. Fans, time to vote for tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision and Training Man of the Match. Poll open in the next 10 minutes. You can vote now on the Lou City app.
By the way, with that penalty, credit Amadou Dia from getting all the way up there into the box, creating the threat that younger Berry had to then try and deal with.
Hilton over Arteaga, that stayed in. Dia very busy today on the attacking side. Adams, somehow that's stuck to Hilton. Doherty turned down Nyangabire. And there's Jansen Wilson. Some substitutes coming. Here is Sam Gleedle, started last time out. Comes off the bench now for the 16th time in 22 games. Places Serrano, sub brought to you by Fortna. And then Jake Morris, perhaps in a little bit of doubt at the end of last week. He asked for a sub, didn't realize the team didn't have enough. Decided he'd try and play through it, see if the pain subsided. It didn't. But ultimately ended up scoring the equalizing goal that assured Louisville the Players' Shield away to Indy. What a moment that was.
And that's such quality to bring off the bench. Sam Gleedle at Monterey Bay last year, such a good player. Jake Morris this season already 5 goals and 5 assists. That's what makes them so difficult to beat, Lou City. They've got fantastic players in the starting 11, then great quality coming off the bench.
Big fistful of Rowdy jersey there. Play continues up through Doherty. Pushing and shoving, and Adams goes in and wiped it off of Jennings. The run out is on, but misfiring for Gleedle. Louisville, the 2024 USL Championship title runs through Lynn Family Stadium. Lou City will open the playoffs Saturday, November 2nd. With all of this year's postseason games be played at home. Tickets are available loucity.com/playoffs. Louisville's hosted multiple USL Championship finals. Went for the Triple Crown, 17, 18, 19. Won the first 2, fell in the most recent. Went to San Antonio a couple years ago. A bitter disappointment. The Rowdies 2020, 2021 fell in the 21 final to Orange County. These have been the teams that have been at the forefront. Gleedle targeted by Jansen Wilson with a clever nutmeg, but never reached the streaking runner.
Danny Cruz is saying, make sure we're organized. Looking a lot more relaxed than his opposite number, Robbie Nielsen, as he left the pitch. And I guess that's because, of course, for Tampa Bay Rowdies, these points are so much more important, but also they're playing decently well here, Lou City.
Bounces high, Wilson unloaded. Follow, that didn't go, and Adams.
I think that's the most important thing for Danny Cruz is how well Lou City are playing. The result might not go the way they want. Let's just say this is a draw. It might not be the win they want, but he just wants to make sure this team is fighting, fit and ready and psychologically ready, certainly for the playoffs. And they look like this. They really are positive here.
Of the 18, Nyangabire, Morris late arriving. Yeah, I was going to say, do you feel that they've done that job tonight? Maintained a measure of momentum?
Yep, I think so. They got stuck in a match they don't really have to win. Look at them still coming forward at this stage.
I think Morris a bit surprised that play continued. Gleedle comes high. Davila's got a cannon, kept it away from Jennings. Back to Davila. Now they jumped in the first 10-15 minutes. Number of chances, didn't score. Took it to halftime scoreless. Rowdies get the go-ahead. Penalty here in the second half sees Louisville level. Here's Morris sweeping inside. Nyangabire to ground.
I'm just going to add something to the whole penalty thing. Is the referee was, what, 10, 15 yards away at the most?
Yep.
And calls it. The coaching staff of Tampa Bay are 60 yards away, and they're fighting about it.
Davila. Oh, what a run. Davila finally dispossessed. Fighting to the point that got the head coach sent out of the building.
You know, and of course the players who give the penalty away are going to claim it isn't a penalty. You claim whether it's true or not. You always, unless it's blatantly obvious. So it's just my sense of everyone's fighting over something they're not sure of. They're just fighting for their side no matter what. And as a referee, if you give it, you get hammered. If you don't give it, the other side hammer you.
All wafted through. There's Breno.
At what point do we protect the referees a little bit more?
I think there's becoming a wider spread problem of you may not like the officiating, but we're running out of officials, period. And you can't play the game without it.
Yeah. That's a job I wouldn't do.
Never. Nope. No chance.
I've taken my referee's badge and they said to me, do you want to ref? I said, no. I just wanted to learn about refereeing. I do not want to stand. Oh, I actually had one game and I got so badly abused. I thought, why must I stand for this? So to your point that we need referees, they needed to be treated with a lot of respect. I get Robbie Nielsen's upset and I understand the frustrations, but you know, do it in a way that shows everyone you're not happy, but doesn't have a go at the officials. That's just what I would be asking for from the coaches. And the only way that happens is if the USL make it costly to cross that line. Whether it's a mandatory, for example, eight games you can't stand on the touch line, or it's a large fine. Somebody's got to make you not want to do that. So the rules have to be tougher.
What game did you officiate? A really poignant point, and I'm not trying to take from it, but
it was an adult match between sort of amateur teams, almost like a pickup game, but players who could play a little bit. The abuse I took was just horrendous.
Morris. It's going to fall kindly and set, spinning toward goal, and ultimately scooped by Breno. There's a lot of venom on that. Jansen Wilson can really lay into it.
He certainly can, and again, Breno solid as can be in that defense for Tampa Bay Rowdies. I just wonder if this is a point that the Tampa Bay team will feel, obviously they'd like more, but it's a good point away at a very difficult place to get anything. I wonder if at the end of the day they will, if there should be a draw, whether they'll leave here happy with it or not. Only they can say, but I think it's a decent point on the road, especially when you've lost the last four.
Let's tell you that eFootball 2024 is here. You can live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball, free to play. Download now. You have to buy the expansion pack if you want to curse at the referee in that game. Does not come free. Knockdown toward Gleedle. Kleeman. Davila, the do-si-do with Leo Fernandez. Out to Morris. Sweeps up to Gleedle. Morris making a run. Gleedle cuts inside. Square now. Wilson. McFadden. Squared up by Bodley. McFadden jabs. Wilson offering above Jake Morris. Youngabire trudges into the corner.
Yeah, good pressure from the home side now. You almost get the sense that Tampa Bay would take the draw now because they're coming under increasing pressure. Of course, we go back to the last match, Blue City against Indy 11, a 94th minute goal by Jake Morris. In the Miami victory, was 83rd minute by Ray Serrano, so we do know that Blue City will keep pushing right to the end.
Adams. Here's Tosh. The equalizing penalty. Had a difficult week last week. And the coaching pretty blunt to Tosh. Took it in stride, has had a good performance tonight. Ordonez. McFadden. McFadden offering, headed off the post from Winder, no.
That was close, wasn't it? He knows it. He just headed it back a little bit more, head back towards the sort of far post. But another good ball from McFadden. He whips this ball in with pace. You want to head it back to where the keeper's coming from as opposed to the near post, because you're being shoved and pushed as you're trying to header. And that was nearly, we just talked about Blue City pushing right to the end. That could easily have been the winning goal for the home side.
Nyangabire mentioned trudging, his night complete. Put in a shift and then some. Breathing heavily as he comes off, replaced by Eddie Manjoma. Subs here brought to you by Fortna. Damian Rivera in for his 26th appearance off the bench, 31st in total. Cal Jennings makes way to the bench.
It's a quiet night for Cal Jennings, such a wonderful player, brilliant striker around the box. But maybe he hasn't had a lot of service, or maybe it's just not his night, but we haven't seen him do as much as he normally does.
Tonight's Lynn Family Sports Vision training man of the match, Sean Tosh. The equalizing penalty. Strong night defensively for the Louisville center back. Manages his 7th goal of the year, already more than he had last year, where he was a second-team All-League selection. As usual, has done most of that work at the spot. You could easily see this as a second-round matchup if Tampa Bay finishes in the 4-5. And if they finish third, catch Detroit, you couldn't see them until potentially the conference final.
And if they do meet, it'll be another great game of that. You can be absolutely certain. The passion is just, as you say, it's just one of those games that has developed passion, and it's never been missing when these two teams meet.
And you can catch the USL Championship and the upcoming playoffs on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms. Catch live matches, expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Off the turn, Jansen Wilson Louisville waited till 90+4 to equalize a week ago in Indianapolis. It's from that man, Jake Morris. That was the point they needed to secure the Players' Shield, which they'll receive, Louisville, shortly after the conclusion of this game, and we will have coverage for you, as Louisville City will take that trophy for the first time. Pitchforked over the top. Goodrum was onside. Bodily overruns Goodrum for the ball. Louisville take it back, however. Morris. And wide of the scoreboard. And that's headed to the futsal court.
Yeah, it's wide of the stadium.
Yeah, yeah. Here is Nick Moon, one of the most electric wide players in the championship. He'll replace Blake Bodley. Sub brought to you by Fortna. And that's the 5th and final change for the Rowdies tonight. Stoppage time brought to you by Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. This game went so smoothly in the first half, there was no stoppage time. 8 minutes in the second half. So if you have somewhere that you need to be, sorry about that. This should have you planted for another 10 minutes or so. You know, stick around on ESPN Plus later tonight. Big Oakland and Phoenix game. Got some action tomorrow around the championship that is going to have a major impact on the Eastern Conference standings, especially at the playoff line, where really nothing is secure yet.
I certainly think from a Tampa Bay Rowdies point of view, when you've lost the previous 4 away from home, assuming this is a draw at Lou City, it's a really good point. It's a great fight. They've played well, and they could take that into the remaining matches against North Carolina, Indy, and Hartford, and get themselves in the top 4 and go from there. They've done, I think, reasonably well against, well, I would say very well, against a fantastic Lou City side. That man in particular there, Phil Brenner, will probably hold on to the #1 jersey. No reason why not. He's really put in a good performance here today. So much better from a team that's lost 6 of the last 8. You've got to be Robbie Nelson once he calms down. You're going to be reasonably happy with tonight.
5-5 corner punched away by Breno. Back in by McFadden. Adams puts it up. Header, back set, falls. Morris, no. Goodrum after it, and Hilton got it out.
Wow. What a scramble that was.
Powering forward again. Morris returns. Pinball's free. Tosh continues to stumble and bumble his way toward the final third, but now space vacated. Big tackle by Winder. Wilson, now Tosh. Fernandez went in for it, sliding challenge back. Now it's Hilton. These tackles are flying everywhere right now. Entering into the area, ball touched across. Rivera turning, Arteaga, that's blocked. Rivera settles, Rivera fires off the other side of the bar. Oh, wow, nearly. Still it's on for Tampa Bay. Driving to the edge of the area. The return, whipped across, seeking Arteaga. Crisostomo. Big collision, Morris wins a free kick, and everybody can breathe. Holy smokes.
What a strike from Rivera. Look at this, cuts inside. Well, this is earlier on. Arteaga's shot is blocked and it comes back up. Rivera turns, and here he absolutely wallops this. What a strike against the crossbar. See it from behind. Great filming there. Damien Lass is on his knees. He's not going to get close to that. That was nearly an incredible ending for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I think they've given us value in the second half, both sides. An exciting end-to-end football. And again, if Tampa Bay Rowdies can take this into the last few games in the playoffs, and they've got every chance of having a long and deep run.
Bone Dry Roofing yellow card for descent to Leo Fernandez. He joins Hilton Arteaga on yellows on the field. Davila unable to hang on, but he comes back after the deflection on the clearance by Hilton. Here's Winder. Through now, Gleedle, head on a swivel, crossing, falls to Morris. Morris off the post! Oh! Ricochets off the bar! Insanity on both ends!
Oh, this is a great strike from Jake Morris. Just settles himself there and absolutely hammers that ball. Breno had it covered if it had been a bit lower. Look, he flashes his head, maybe even got the slightest of touches on that, but crossbar both ends of the pitch. Absolutely brilliant finish to this match.
This is going to be worth every nickel if it happens again. Conference semi, perhaps conference final by any measure. Whipped in again. Goodrum the target. Sent away by Doherty. Louisville putting all the pressure on now. Wilson. Goodrum. Cut back, Jansen Wilson. Corner Louisville City. 3 more minutes of this abject craziness.
Well, there's going to be drama if someone gets a winner of that. There's no doubt here, because they're giving absolutely everything, both sides. Sean Tosh up there. This is the ideal situation for him and Kyle Adams to get in the end of something.
Vi-Fi corner. Ordonez! No way! Wow, what a winner! That is the goal of his career. Unreal. 2-1 Louisville City. What a way to celebrate the title.
That is the perfect way to celebrate the title and go and receive the trophy in a few minutes' time. But we were just saying the pressure's coming on. It would be terrible for the side that concedes. And for Tampa Bay Rowdies, you have to feel so sorry. But what a good finish as well. A centre-back, overhead kick. Absolutely brilliant. And you've had a look at Phil Breno, the keeper. As it goes past, he's got his hands up in the air going, what just happened there? How did they get on the end of that? Stunning, stunning commitment. They did it last week in the 94th minute with Jake Morris. There's something incredibly special about this Lou City side, but how tough for the Rowdies.
Well, they may have taken the goal of the year to beat them. Ordonez 90+6. Turning. The return to Fernandez got touched out by Tosh. I spoke too soon. There's at least another 65 seconds. Oh my goodness.
Incredible. Brilliant. Rowdies, even if you do end up losing, just take the spirit into the remaining games in the playoffs. You got every chance of going far.
Ordonez won the Shield last year. He scored the go-ahead here. Ball toward Guillen. Las makes the catch. Breno was forward. He's sprinting back.
Yeah, Las needs just to relax there. He knows that he could have kicked that ball long and tried to get an extra goal, but with only seconds left, just hold on to the ball, control it, make sure you got all your defenders in the right place. You don't get caught by any cheap counter from Tampa Bay, and just work this clock down for Lou City.
Unbelievable, truly. We may have another minute here. Guillen. Guillen nods down. Here's Hilton. He scored the initial goal for Tampa Bay. Push from behind. The strength to continue. Is this it? Doherty. Hilton smashes off Gleedle. They're going to bring it back. Did that catch Gleedle's arm? Substitution coming. This is Louisville bringing on Niall McCabe. And now, after the referee had signaled for him to enter, they've asked not to do the sub now. So McCabe will remain on the sideline. For the 10-year club, the 10-year man, the tenured man. Gleedle and Goodrum draw the short straw. Leo Fernandez is the pulse of this Rowdies team. Always has been. Breno is forward. We've only seen a goalkeeper goal once all season, and it was week 1. Colin Shuttler, Orange County equalizer against Sacramento. Fernandez up, Breno right at loss. And that should be that.
Wow, Jordan Doherty getting on the end of this. He's so happy to hold on to that ball, he's not getting up. Have a look at Doherty here, throws himself there. To be fair to him, he's actually turning as he heads it, so he can't direct it, and he gets helped up onto his feet. But yeah, brilliant ending to this match.
That's it, full time. Arturo Ordonez scores the goal of his life. The 90+6 winner for Louisville City. Home win 15, win number 23, goal number 81, and tying a club record with 72 points in perhaps the most unreal fashion. The final score brought to you by Gorski Law Office. Louisville 2, Tampa Bay 1.
Just spare of thought, though, for Tampa Bay Rowdies. They're going to complain about the penalty, obviously. They're going to be upset with the goal so late in the game. Maybe they should have defended that corner a bit better. They're going to leave here with nothing, but huge credit to the way they've played. And again, just to repeat that point, if they take this attitude with them further, this bad run they've had of 6 losses and 8, which is now 7 and 9, it'll turn around. Great spirit from the Rowdies, fantastic game. So brutally unlucky at the end of it, but as long as they make the playoffs, they get a home playoff, there's still glory ahead for Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Well, there is more post-game coverage to come, including the USL Players Shield awarded to Louisville City. You'll see that coverage right here. Gorski Law Office presents the final score, Lou City 2, Tampa Bay 1. Our post-game is coming up next.
So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh.
Get out there and get away. Get to a game. Get to the campground.
Get out there and have some fun in a new Toyota truck.
Like the trail-dominating Toyota Tacoma.
The best-selling truck in its class for the past 19 years.
Or the dominatingly powerful new Tundra.
Now you can lease a new Tacoma from just $319 a month.
Or you can get a new Tundra with 1.99 APR financing or $2,000 customer cash.
Nobody builds trucks better than Toyota. Let's go places.
Full-time highlights, Louisville City and Tampa Bay, one of the great games of the year. We start with Tampa Bay finding the opener through Lewis Hilton, a tremendous goal, and the Rowdies pull ahead.
Now Ben Bender there, just seeing Lewis Hilton's run into the box. It wasn't picked up, that run, but when he hits it, look at that, absolutely stunning.
And then Louisville from the spot. Louisville with a tremendous game winner, 90+6. Well, we want to cover this live, and so there's Jeremy Allenbaugh, who previously led St. Louis FC in the championship, is now the USL Championship president. Danny Cruz speaking to the Lou City team alongside members of his staff. Danny spoke to us over the last few weeks knowing that this was coming, as you see Allenbaugh standing with the USL Players Shield, the regular season championship trophy. Danny Cruz told us, in essence, this isn't our only aspiration. We do plan on making a run at a double this year, which was last achieved by San Antonio by beating Louisville in the final. He didn't want to get too high on that one moment in Indianapolis last week that sealed that game. Ultimately, however, he felt important to recognize the fact that trophies are few and far between in a career. Maybe you're Lionel Messi and you get 46 by the time you're done. But if your name is not Lionel Messi, it's probably never going to be you. Instead, for these players, so many of them, it's their first trophy since 2018, the last time Louisville hoisted the championship trophy at the final. For others, 2 trophies in back-to-back years like Arturo Ordonez. Take pictures with family. Remember this moment. It is a once-in-a-lifetime achievement. There's Brian Ombie, who's been dealing with injury, who comes out the captain of this team to help accept the trophy. Jeremy Allenbaugh speaks to the assembled Lou City players. For the first time, Louisville City hoist the Players' Shield. 2024 regular season champions. And the trophy that's proved most elusive finally in their trophy cabinet. Niall McCabe, his 10th year for the club, wears Jorge Gonzalez's jersey. Gonzalez dealing with a substantial injury. Ray Serrano lifts the trophy. Sean Tosh, the equalizing goal this week. A championship winner in Rochester and in Louisville. Arturo Ordonez lifts it for the 2nd time in 2 years. Upset in the playoffs last year, but he knows there's no jinx. He hoists it anyways. Jake Morris into the air. Damian Loss, the backstop for so much of this season. The league's 2nd leading scorer, Wilson Harris aloft. Sam Gleadle, a part of such tremendous teams in Reno, including a regular season title winner. Jansen Wilson, a trialist who joined this team and provided such athletic pop. They won't be throwing that like a frisbee, but they will be carrying it around to the fans. Fireworks ring out over Lynn Family Stadium. And the stadium opened in 2020, and for the first time, it sees a trophy hoisted by the home team that signifies winning the league, not just winning the conference. The Players' Shield for the first time in Louisville City's grasp. Simply an unbelievable feeling, given a club that throughout its entire history has done no worse than the conference final. Kyle Adams, who shepherded this team, the captain in the absence of Brian Ombie, arrived midway through last year. Seemingly the perfect inhabitant of the captaincy this season. Elijah Winder, the hometown kid, who's experienced his best work as a pro. Amadou Dia carrying his child around this field. He came here to win trophies. He's won one now. Danny Cruz said these moments with kids, with spouses, with parents, with each other. This is what you'll remember when it's all done. And you may only get this one fleeting moment to enjoy it, and so tonight they will. They were going to do this whether they won, lost, or draw against Tampa Bay. And they'll take a much-deserved walk around the 10,000 plus that came, yes, for this enormous game against a bitter rival, but to celebrate this team and ultimately to celebrate a season of accomplishment that bears barely any parallel in the championship. A 2-1 victory over Tampa Bay is just the tip of the iceberg tonight of why these fans are so riled up. It is essentially a walk of honor around Lynn Family Stadium. And then tomorrow, they'll turn their focus to a road trip next week to San Antonio. Take on the team that was the last that had to create their own Players' Shield. It used to be so uneven, the conferences, that the league didn't actually make a trophy to win the Players' Shield. And so it was a piece of workout equipment fashioned in the shop win last year. The decision to make a league trophy as Pittsburgh took home the Players' Shield in a more balanced schedule. And now Louisville City has their turn at it. Dylan Maris throws it over his head. So Louisville City up to 72 points on the year. They clinched a week ago. They celebrate tonight. Let's walk you through the events on the field of this evening. Tampa Bay falls 2-1 to Louisville City as Philip Goodrum, the newest acquisition to this team, take the photo with some of the fans. That's why he's so beloved, even though his opponents would probably fail to understand it. Here come the highlights from the game that was, and what a game truly that it was. Tampa Bay grabbed the opening goal. We showed this to you a moment ago. Lewis Hilton in the right place at the right time to be on the other end of Ben Bender's extensive dribbling exhibition. But this finish, picturesque stuff into top bins. It comes in the 61st minute, and it seemed like the Rowdies were going to rain on Louisville's parade. Then in the 71st minute, this will be a point of great controversy. Dia goes tumbling. A very late whistle. Nyangabire had been dribbling away. He thought there was nothing to it. But does he make contact with the ankle of Dia? The coach for the Rowdies gets tossed. Straight red card. Tosh to the spot. Pulls level at 71 minutes. And then the Louisville deluge began. Pouring pressure on all the way to 90+6. The move of the match presented by Toyota. Ball drops down, and the goal of the season, maybe not just for Louisville, for the championship, Arturo Ordonez. Overhead kick past Breno. He has no idea how it happened. It defies laws of physics. And Ordonez, the 2-1 winner, late in stoppage time. Now take a look at the achievements for Louisville City within the championship. They won the final in 2017 and again in 2018. Then the Eastern Conference Finals, all 9 years of their history dating back to inception in 2015. They won the regular season in the East on 3 previous occasions, but ultimately outdone for the regular season title by a team from the West, but not this year. The 4th time is the charm. 2024 Players' Shield winner. You can jump in on the celebration. Players' Shield merchandise, online exclusive, available now at lousoccerstore.com. And so it's just a little more history to add to your closet or your trophy case, as it may be. So what does it mean for the Eastern Conference? Louisville City still, of course, now 12 points clear of Charleston, the #1 overall seed. The entire playoffs run through Lynn Family Stadium so long as Louisville remains alive. Detroit clinched with a draw earlier today. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay still a game in hand on Indy, but failed to make up ground. Meanwhile, Rhode Island has pulled level with them. Pittsburgh go above the line with a 2-0 win over the Battery tonight. And then North Carolina fall to Hartford, and it means Hartford Athletic is part of a 5-way joust for the final 2 playoff positions, all within 2 points with 2 or 3 games remaining. And so that's it tonight from Louisville, Kentucky. This is, well, one of the great matchups in the league for good reason, and if we see it again in November, you know exactly what you're going to get. 16 meetings, 15 decided by 1 goal or fewer. Our Pulse game was brought to you by the Kentucky office of highway safety for Gary Bailey, our entire team in Louisville and beyond. Our producer Brady Kajala, Mike Watts saying so long. Louisville wins it 2-1. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.